Welcome to round 3. If you missed rounds 1 or 2, there'll be links down in the description. This is the May Mashup Tournament. It's an exciting format. Each round has 2 bid games, which is what you're about to watch. There's also an original campaign story written by yours truly that's read aloud before each game. So go ahead and enjoy that. And thanks for watching.
Chapter 3, Part 1. To End All Wars. Tesla listened with a faraway look in his eyes. It was never meant to be this way. He had begun working on a technology years ago that would make giant war machines possible. The war-torn landscape of Europa had grieved him, and he believed if he could create a weapon strong enough, he could end the wars that had plagued the land. Nations would no longer battle one another. The cost of war would be too high. He had sent his daughter out to gather intelligence on the different factions of Europa. It had taken her a year to travel and gain information, but now she had returned. He furrowed his aging brow. Deep wrinkles carved by guilt and worry painted a picture of an old man, full of grief and regret. In Vesna's absence, he had been betrayed. One of the architects he had commissioned to create the factory had been an agent of Gunther, the military leader of the Saxony Empire. Tesla's technology had been stolen and used to soak the fields of Europa in blood before he could use Vesna's intelligence to form a strategy for the technology's distribution. His initial desire was that all the nations would develop and manufacture his weapons at once. That was why he dispatched Vesna. The less industrialized nations would naturally produce the mechs slower and would need the technology sooner. But Gunther had ruined this plan before it could even be formed. Now Tesla knew the less powerful nations would need the technology as soon as possible. Perhaps it would not be too late to create balance between the nations of Europa. Perhaps it would not be too late to stem the tide of war. Vesna's report was thorough. The Polania Republic had been under siege from the Saxony Empire for years. Now the war machines, built from the stolen technology, threatened to overrun the Republic. Vesna had also learned that Bjorn of the Nordic people initially formed an alliance with the Polania Republic, but now he intended to betray them, as Gunther had offered him the technology behind the mechs in return for his allegiance. It was just a matter of time before the Republic was beset on all sides. Rusviet was amassing its forces, she continued. Even rumored estimates failed to capture the sheer size of the Red Army's force. Tesla had suspected as much, and had turned an emissary from the Red Nation away empty-handed a few months ago when the messenger arrived on his doorstep. Rusviet would not need the mechs to overrun Europa, he worried. But with the mechs, all might be lost. The nation to the south was technologically backwards, Vesna informed him. They would need the technology, but after listening, Tesla told Vesna that they might need more, as even the basics of modern manufacturing had yet to develop in that land. Finally, Vesna told him of 2 nations that hailed from afar. She had only gleaned bits and pieces from travelers, but she believed that the nation of the Dolphin, as it was called, could be a counterbalance to the power of Rusviet, and was greatly motivated to fulfill that role. She had also learned that a tribe from the west, beyond the sea, had been at war with Bjorn and his people for years. She had little to go on, but believed they sought the mechs to defend their homeland. Tesla lowered his head and closed his eyes. For several minutes, Vesna watched him as he sat in silence. Then suddenly rising to his feet and speaking firmly, he said, "Follow me." Down staircase after staircase they walked, until they stood in the bowels of the factory, where Vesna knew Tesla worked and hid his most innovative plans and ideas. He walked methodically to a wall of high shelves filled with scrolls. He pulled one, then another and another from the wall. Handing them to Vesna, he slowly walked to his desk. He drew a sheet of paper from his drawer and began to write. Vesna stood in silence as her father filled the page. Finally, he turned to her and handed her the letter. She did not need to read it. She quickly stowed it with the scrolls in her worn leather satchel. A tear came to the old man's eyes as she turned and flung her arms around his neck. Then they retraced their steps up the stairs until they stood before the factory's tall doors. As he opened the doors for her, she quietly walked to the edge of the forest, turned for a moment to look at her father, then, focusing her gaze ahead, quickly disappeared into the forest. Tesla sighed and slowly closed the massive doors. Then came a knock. Tesla opened the door to see a young woman with her hair pulled back and a sword at her side. Her face was set, and she stood quiet and unmoved, with the stillness of a trained warrior, ready to spring into action in an instant. He turned his head to see her companion. Her fur-lined hat hid most of her thin, long blonde hair. She held herself with a swagger and confidence that seemed vaguely familiar to Tesla. He sat and stared at her for a moment, a look of unease briefly crossing his face. Then he refocused his attention on the young woman bearing the sword. "Come in," he said, as he beckoned them inside. The two women passed through the factory doors. Tesla closed the high wooden opening behind them. Once inside, Akiko broke her silence to regale Tesla with her story. He listened intently as she told of her brother, his disappearance, and the rising threat of the Red armies that were gathering to the east. He quietly nodded and produced a scroll from the folds of his coat. He handed it to Akiko. The Red Army must be stopped. He pleaded with her. "Promise me only that you will not let them overrun Europa." Akiko paused and then nodded, as if suddenly coming to a decision. It would not be enough to find her brother, she assured him. The nation of the Red Star had threatened their home before. If their power grew unchecked, it was likely that her people would not be able to defy an invasion on their shores. They would stay, she announced. They would fight. Suddenly, Akiko felt dizzy. She slumped toward the floor as she felt blood run down the back of her head. As she dropped to her knees, she suddenly felt the impact of the blunt instrument that had struck her only seconds before. Looking up stunned, frozen in place by shock, she stared through her clouded vision and felt Olga snatch the scroll from her weakened hands. Akiko saw a flash of metal as Olga raised her arm. She saw a menacing smile briefly cross Olga's face. Akiko felt her eardrums split and then all go silent as a flash erupted from Olga's gun. Another flash followed it, but she heard no sound. As her ears began to awaken, she heard the rapid footsteps of Olga disappear across the floor behind her and then vanish. She turned to Tesla. The old man lay on the floor. A pool of blood at his side stood in stark contrast to his ashen gray face. As Akiko rose to her feet, her eyes again focusing, she rushed to his side and ripped the shawl from her shoulders, pressing it against his gushing chest. Then she felt her wrist caught in the vice of an old wrinkled hand. She raised her eyes to see the piercing gaze of Tesla, desperately probing her eyes. "I didn't know!" She nearly choked on the words. Sternly the old man met her gaze. Then, with monumental effort, raised his weak voice. "Go," he said. "They will be here soon." Akiko again pressed the cloth to his chest, but she could not stop the bleeding. She looked again to Tesla's eyes. They were empty. She bowed her head and raised to her feet. How had she been so blind? Then she heard the distant sound of a drum. Remembering Tesla's last words, she staggered to the empty, open factory entrance to see soldiers slowly moving across the frozen tundra from the south. A star emblazoned on each uniform. Adrenaline surging through her still weakened limbs, she placed her hand on the back of her head, remembering the blood that still flowed, now slowly from her wound. She took one step, then another, and limped methodically into the cover of the nearby trees. An hour later, she finally stopped long enough to rest on a nearby log. Her eyes were heavy, and she had never felt so tired. Perhaps that's why she didn't hear the rustle of bushes or the footsteps behind her. Perhaps that's why she let down her guard. But in the last instant, before it was too late, she heard the dull thud of leather-soled boots on the soft forest floor. Drawing her sword, she spun round and held it at the throat of the woman who stood before her. But it was not Olga. The woman's hair was as dark as the black leather satchel that hung over her shoulder. Her features were young, but her eyes were older. Akiko quickly spotted a gun at her side. But the holster was buckled, and the woman brandished no weapon of any kind. "Hello, Akiko," she calmly said with a smile. "I've been waiting for you."
Here we are. It is round 3, game 1. The bidding room is all ready. I'm playing against Nun, or Noodles, as you may know him, as well as ninjew. So let's enter the bid room and get going. Right. Nun leads out with $7 on Rusty at Mechanical. I won't rust this game. I'm willing to pay 15. Maybe 1 coin more. All right, Nun sees the margin between Russ and Albion. It's about 9. He didn't hesitate to throw that down. So we're just gonna do 9, huh? Okay. I guess Nun cycles back to Russ Fiat. Maintain that 9 coin difference. Does. I've worked up some strategies for Albion Militant. I have some strategies I like for Tagawa Patriotic. But I feel like Russ Fiat's going to be in control of the game. And I want to be in control of the game. Nun is thinking about it here. I'd be okay with it if he ends the bidding right now. And he does. All right, I can live with this. I can live with this. Okay, I got Underworld advantage and King of the Hill. Those are both doable in this game. It's nice to have a little flexibility there. Second. Okay, I've worked up a strategy here that's just a little different flavor from the typical meta Rust strategy. It skips an encounter, but it produces the speed mech 1 turn faster, which means it can move to this mountain adjacent to the factory on turn 9. And turn 9 is the turn that Tagawa can move to the factory. And we go before Tagawa, which means Tagawa drags their feet at all, will block them from the factory. There, they traded for oil. So that will mean that they can't get there until turn 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, they can still get there. But we can send them home before they reach the factory, which I think is the key to winning a big game here with Russ. Keep Tog off the factory. All right, he's going to upgrade the enlist. My combat cards are bad. I'll get quite a few just off myself, even if these guys roll out enlist super quickly. And even though Tog upgraded the enlist first, I think they're going to go a little slow at least. You thinking about the mech? Thinking about where to put it? That's interesting. Wonder why he chose to put it there. Deuce. And we go Riverwalk. See if Tagawa moves straight to the encounter. He does. I'm gonna go 3 workers. Oh, and boy does it pay off. He gets a great encounter. He can get an upgrade here. Probably want to trade for some oil, I would think. Or take the... I don't think he wants to take the 1 worker. Maybe an oil and 2 metal. Two oil and a metal. Okay, he's got his sights set on another upgrade. If Tog manages to get in a mech before he gets here, things get a little dicey with keeping him off the factory. So I go 1, he can't move. I go produce, he moves. I go produce, he can't move. I go deploy, he moves. Knock him back off the mountain. Can't beat him there, unfortunately. But he'll have 0 power. Maybe 1 or 2 power from oil. And if he beats me there, he won't have deployed a mech. Probably was just kind of doing his thing up there, but Tagawa's the one I'm watching. No one's going to make a mech this turn. Give me some better cards. At least 1/4. Now he's going to move. Reworker strat, he's sticking with it. Now we get the coin and list. Albion's about to make a mech. Net us 2 power and another combat card. I think we'll see Ronin here the next turn, or he'll go ahead and move. Hard to say. There's another 4. Got to beat Tagawa by 13, by 3 right now. Albion's got plenty of combat cards, only 3 power. That would do last list. Speed. All right. The question, does he go ahead and move? Does he lay a trap, and which trap is it? He moves, he just has 2 power, and I just have to play 7. So I can send him back home pretty easily. I don't want to eat a trap. Points would be very punishing in a big game like this. Gotta keep an eye on Albion. He goes Suton. He's gonna go around me. Right? I got 4 wood. That's great. Can build a mine. Bonuses, neighboring tunnels, and I can put it right here. It's pretty perfect. Up by 12 right now. Go up to 5 power now. I think number 3 goes up there, I think. Okay, Albion can't move next turn because he just moved. Gawa can move next turn but can only attack with 1 unit. He does not have Ronin. Power situation kind of nice. Anyone gonna upgrade? Possible. I'm not gonna get tier 2, so two metal. Four. I'm gonna take a risk and turn in the objective now. Didn't hesitate, did he? Hmm. Wrong choice. Could be have been worse. Could have gotten the deploy, dropped Toka and gone and stolen all this. Wanted to take a chance there. Just need a 13-point boost first. There's Ronan. Figured as much. No, he doesn't have Suton, and Albion can't hit the factory. No one has any forest yet, which is the challenge. I just have the one. Albion has 2 out of 4 enlists. Well, I'm just ahead of Albion, aren't I? Yes. Up by 2. Drop some resources on the ground. Move somewhere. Still no Shinobi. Ooh, those are some resources. Say that's a coin trap on the factory. It still gives me 6 minus 4 is 2, and he loses 6. That's 8. It's definitely worth taking. Kind of nerve-wracking. Passes a coin my way. It's a wash, though. Up by 3, need 10 more. 6 more for the star. I can get 8 more for swinging the factory. But pick up some extra coins, too. I need one more combat, though. Don't really have the cards to get it done. In a tough spot. If I deploy here, Dog can suicide back onto me. It's got to be the coin trap, right? What would it make the score? He'd lose 6. He'd go down to 43. I'd gain 6. I'd go up to 55. And the Gawa still doesn't have Shinobi. But he can probably win a 1v1 here. Maybe it'll win a 1v3, honestly. My cards are so bad. There's no way I can deploy here with him on the factory. Power. Oh my gosh, yes. Do I want 4 more points? Right now, if he suicides me, I go to 58. 43, it's enough. Up by 12. Need 13. Shinobi. Play 8 plus 6 is 14, 15, 16. This is when it would be nice to not have my objective turned in. All right. I'm up by 11, right? I'll get 2 more coins. He'll get 1. So I'll gain 1 coin, lose 2 from the resources. So that's -1. Wait. 1, 2, 3 coins, lose 1. That's 2. He gets 1. That's 1. Lose 2 points from spending 3 resources. It's -1. I get 2. So I go to +2 from the star. So 58.45. I need more points is the problem. This is when it's harsh not to have township. Need some territory. Hoping for money here. By 18. Excuse me. Only my cards were better. I'm up by only 10. You got 2 stars was the problem. Delay hurt. Might not have been the right play. Okay, 3. I can play 17. He attacks me. The problem is he has an upgraded move, which means he can move here to a forest. Here, that's 4, and then give me a star. It's 57. I get 3, that's 66 plus 2, 68. It's not enough. Hmm. I wish I could give a mech people's army back. Tell you the truth. Lose 2, gain 3. Positive 1, he gains 1. I pay for the power. Negative 2. Go to 65. Only 12 ahead. Thought so. By 12. And he'll flip that trap. Only ahead by 3. This game may just have gotten out of reach. I need more points. Oh man. I had a window. When's he going to finish it? He just needs a mech and an objective. Is that the regular move or the factory move? Regular move. That was any other trap. Came down to that fight on the factory. Got to make sure I get. Oh man. I had to take a chance on that trap, but I knew it was the coin trap, so I don't know why I did it. Only up by 7. Got 4 4s now. Gotta worry about Albion too. This game belongs to Tagawa. They have an objective. Either don't have it yet or they're not going to turn it in. Well, he's going to just go for the power star. What he's going to do. This isn't coin. This isn't power. So this is popularity combat cards. I got to move again, or he's going to run in me twice for the win. Albion moves forward, he'll run in them. I don't know if Albion will see it. Okay, game's over. He made a mistake. He should have just brought one unit. It would have counted as a mechless territory. Hmm. Game's out of reach. It has been. Um, can't pick up any more territory. He has to throw a 0. Doesn't matter. Tog's going to end it. Well, that's disappointing. Him winning that battle and trapping the factory was the turning point in this game. The threat of Shinobi handicapped me so much. The threat of him being able to suicide. Oh, and he's got a forest up here. I forgot about this forest. Seven up. But it won't be enough. Just gonna double Ronin. Kiko ran and hid in the forest and won the day.
Chapter 3, Part 2. The Ghost of Tesla. They were nearly there. His men had returned only hours before to report that the factory had been found, and they should be within sight any moment. Connor surveyed his men. Their heads were unbowed as they proudly plodded forward. But he knew they were tired. Their mud-caked clothes and stiff gait told of an unrelenting pace that they had now kept for weeks. Since the skirmish with Bjorn, there had been no time to mourn their fallen comrades. There had been only the mission. And walking. So much walking. But the pace of the men, tired though they were, seemed to quicken each passing moment with the promise that their arrival at the factory was imminent. Then they saw it. A break in the trees revealed a massive structure that stood like a mountain above the open plain. Connor's heart leaped with a joy that only weary travelers know. But then he stopped in his tracks. Smoke billowed from the factory. But it was not the white steam of industry. It was thick, black smoke. As the band of warriors approached the factory, they were met with a devastating sight. The once proud building laid waste. Fallen walls of charred stone littered the landscape. The structure they had witnessed from afar was only the skeleton that remained, burnt and lifeless in the wake of the destruction. The men stepped over mounds of rubble that had once been walls. There was not a corner that fire had not touched. In frustration, Connor hoisted what had once been a large door and tossed it like kindling, letting out a deep, primal roar. Sinking to his knees, he wept. They had sacrificed blood and treasure to find this place, and now there was nothing left. Suddenly his eyes caught sight of an opening in the floor. Stairs leading downward disappeared into the darkness below the factory's scorched remains. Quickly he lit a torch. The first few steps were blackened with soot and cracked from the heat. But as he descended into the cool darkness, the smell of smoke gave way to the sense of musty parchment and burned tallow. Suddenly he reached the bottom. He raised his torch to peer around the room. His heart again sank as he saw the overturned furniture and bare shelves. Fire had not touched this room, but everything of value had clearly been taken. As his eyes finished their scan of the room and his renewed hope began to fade, he caught the smallest glimmer in the corner of the room. He approached the corner and stared in shock at what was before him. A set of bagpipes lay in the corner of the room. What could be the explanation for its presence in what had clearly been Tesla's workshop? He studied it carefully. The style was old, yet the instrument was pristinely preserved, as if the piece had never been played. He picked it up for a closer examination, curiosity overpowering the despair that had so recently overwhelmed him. It was too heavy. His hand felt the bag as the aged material crumbled against his touch, and he started as a small metal box clattered to the floor. He bent over, picked it up, and turned it over. The hair on his arm stood on end as the etched inscription met his gaze. For the heirs of Arthur. Breathlessly, he fiddled with the latch as his shaking fingers finally raised the lid. There inside laid a scroll. The paper was yellowed and the edges cracked, but as Connor unrolled it in his hands, his mind went numb, dumbfounded by a realization that washed over him, bringing wonder, fascination, and relief. He knew in that moment he had found what he was looking for.
I want that first game back. Gawa had no objective. is just my combat cards. Oh man. Kicking myself for that last game. Saxony at 12 is a little steep for me. Just got to beat Albion by 7. If I go 6 on innovative Albion, none can take Saxony at 12, and then ninjew might end it. "13 is getting up there for Sax. There's no way ninjew covers that bid, I don't think. All right. I wanted to play Saxony, but Albion it is, I guess. Woodland advantage. And wolf among the sheep. I think we're going to do wolf, actually, even though the challenge is necklace. No, the challenge is leftover metal, so we're definitely... Okay, so we got to beat Tog by 6. We can't lose to Saxony by 8. Tog gonna rush the factory here. Ninjew probably just takes the standard line here. Starts with a produce. The most I can get in this set now is 8 points. Put me from 16 to 24, which would be a really good place to be. I'm gonna get a mech out with this trade. Some oil on the ground. Ninja goes for the upgrade. Good. In the standard line. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to trade for 2 again. Trade, move, and deploy. Then I'm going to produce again and deploy rally. Oh my gosh, he gets an amazing encounter. That's insane. Oh, but he doesn't take the wood for the mill. He takes oil. Guess he figures he's going to have enough metal. We're going to make some coin this game. From Saxony's first mech, he upgraded bolster into deploy, which means he's going to bolster and deploy speed. Doesn't really matter where he puts it. Either one's the same because of how the moving works. Next turn, we trade for 2 oil. We upgrade Produce and Enlist. And in turn 6, we move to the encounter. Yeah, I don't agree with this. I always believe he didn't get the wood, but I always believe in bringing the mech to the village when you have the mechanical board or the industrial board where move is overbilled. Can't take the $4 mech with a $13 bid. He just can't do it. Not really a great encounter for him. He could take the 2 oil, and then when he gets his upgrade, he could trade for something other than oil. Like metal, get his mechs a little faster, but he's going to pay the popularity to rush his workers. More oil. All right. And we're going to upgrade Deuce and Enlist. Tagawa's factory belongs to Tagawa this game. Does. Think about this. There's 2 metal on the ground there and 1 over here. We got to watch the metal on the ground because the challenge is to have the most. So we got to win the game. We got to at least tie for the most metal. Oh, Saxony gonna build? We gotta remember to put the flag down. Give me a lot of metal. Come on. All right. Gotta think about this. Plan is to trade for 2 food in turn 8, which means I could get an upgrade. Basically, number 2 works out to an upgrade and $2. Number 3 means that I already have 2 enlists. I'm gonna take that. What Nunn did in the first game is he basically played me 1v1. He didn't pay any attention to Albion at all. And he's a better 1v1 player than me. So that really played to his advantage. winning the coin battle so far. I'm not going to come off the back line. Saxony would love that. Even though I'm on a list ahead, I'm going to trade for food. And Tog reaches the factory with 2 mechs, Ronan and Toka. Interesting. Staying out of Saxony's way. Now he's up by 6 plus the bid. No, 7 plus the bid. 13. Oh, and he had machine over muscle. Well done. I got to think about how I want to do this. Saxony gonna hem me in. That's not a good sign. What are you doing, Sax? You're leaving the village and you're basically giving up the game. You're not gonna win this game doing this. You're just gonna mess me up. Okay, he's gonna build. Dog's a much cheaper combat. It's just on the factory with crap. All right. Saxony is gonna build. I'm gonna get popularity from Gawa up by 10 right now. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to produce, drop another mech here, or here, maybe. I don't think it's a winning strategy for Saxony to encroach in on my territory. Yeah, I need 2 more food, and I'll need 1 more produce. So this will be 8 workers total. So I want 2 on food, 6 on metal, and a mech on the village. That hurts for Sax. But I do like it to go off the factory. Delete some of that power. Lets me know what the trap is too. It's the combat card trap. It's good. No one's enlisting but me, so I'm not going to have a lot more combat cards. No one is. So I'm going to produce, drop the mech here. Next turn, take all the workers to here, and then take 2 of them here. Produce my last mech. Oh, they all went out. They both went just about all out. That's wonderful. And Saxony's out of my face now. Only thing about that is Tagawa has Shinobi. Just run back. 2 combat cards. That hurts for Saxony. This encounter will give me 1 pop. He won't get the 4 buildings though. I was going to say if he builds 4 buildings and I get a pop off this and produce 1 to 8 workers, that's 7 popularity, but I don't think he'll get to... I think he'll get the 4 buildings this game. Hmm. I could do this a little differently. Start moving toward the factory. It's going to cost me 2 metal. I really need 5 resources. Comes Tog. Tog's going to have no trouble getting combats this game. Saxony can produce and move. right? Pointing a combat card and they produce. Gawa can just come and take their stuff. I'm almost hoping Saxony gets combat cards just to balance the Gawa a little bit, out a little bit. But no such luck. $2 and a pop. Hmm. Oh, I know. Take the 2 food and 1 popularity and get our last enlist. The other option would be to take 2 metal. Dog has 3 stars. Combat objective. Mech. Needs another bottom row action star, right? Get workers. Get another combat. Got 1. Probably just going to try to stay ahead and start suiciding Saxony. I'm much closer to ending the game, despite the score. What is Saxony going to do? I'm trying to think ahead here. I'm going to produce. Got a nice little coin advantage. Drop some resources here, some metal here. Spend 2 of the metal. And that'll give me 5 resources on the board. Then I can rally 3 things to this spot and get Wolf among the sheep. Then produce some more metal and move to the factory. Saxony doesn't disarm. The factory doesn't have the coin trap on it this time, just the card trap. Gawa just has one. Saxony's going to build another building. Gawa a long way from ending this. Head in the middle. Saxony spreading out, still way behind. Saxony has no engine. It can be hard. Star. Oh. Gawa has the mismatching resource factory card. I wasn't even paying attention to the factory card. And they're about to get a free combat off Saxony and more resources to use with that factory card. Gotta march toward the factory. Knock Tagawa off of it. 4 stars for Tagawa. 15. Thankfully it was 2 wood and not 3. Saxony can't do anything. No power, no combat cards. Riverwalk. I can trap him in here and go fight him. Let's Tagawa again. I'm gonna lose 2 combat cards when I attack here. I'm gonna go to 0 power, go back up to 2, be able to play 7. can win it. All of my cards. Not going to let me have the combat. By 7. Factory would be a 14-point swing. Java goes to 8 workers. 7 points ahead. What is Saxony? No flag on the factory, right? Because of the trap there. I have to flip the factory. It's from points perspective. He's on 56 right now. He does have his move number 2. Move number 2. Oh, and he gets an enlist, so he can take combat cards. He takes metal instead. I didn't lose my best combat cards. That's take this. Now I'm up by 7, which covers my bid. I have the strength to defend the factory. Nice play by Tog to put a mine there and allow for some spread. I mean, he has Suton. He has Shinobi, right? So he can go just about anywhere he wants. Can't win a 1v1 against me. Dog is playing for the suicide here. I got to start doing some math. Got an upgraded move. And now he's got a combat card. Okay. Factory card here to here. Pick up 2 plus 3 is 5. Go to 63. That would be 66 if Tog suicides into me. One, 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Only up by 10. I don't think Tog can do it because to attack me anywhere, he's got to lose a territory. So I'm up by... Oh, he dropped a coin. Why did he drop a coin? Traded 2 wood. Saxony doesn't move away. I think I got the game and the challenge. Saxony can move. He can't suicide into me because I'm up by 10. Were he to do that, be up by 13, which is enough. Saxony's way out of this. Here, Tog. I think I got this. I'm up by 10. Yep, this is it. Yes. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. All right. 18 turns. Win with Albion. For the medal challenge, I got 8 medal. Tog has 1. So none takes 1 point off this 1 medal this game. And I take 7. So None and I both scored 8 points tonight. So pretty good, right? Yeah. Both got 8 points. So thanks for watching, guys. Disappointing first game, kind of slipped away from me, but feel like I redeemed it in the second one. So good stuff. Thanks for watching. Have a nice night.